Hi guys, welcome back to Brandon M's Adventures. Today we have a special video for you, and I also have a special guest.
Hi, I'm Geeky, I'm Brandon's brother, and today we're going to be ranking our top 5 DCA rides. We're also going to throw in a couple honorable mentions and our flop of the park, so stay tuned to find out what our picks are.
So the way it's going to work is obviously we have our top 5. I have 2 honorable mentions. I'm not sure about you, and we also have 1 flop. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my number 5 ride, which you're probably going to be mad at, but it's going to be Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. is my 5th favorite ride at Disney's California Adventure. To me, it's just nostalgic. I love the movie. I love the ride. I know it's a slow-paced ride, but just for me, it just makes me feel like a kid again, so that's why I put Monsters, Inc. at number 5.
That's not a bad pick, but for the 5th spot on my list, I'm going to go with Mater's Junkyard Jamboree.
Oh, wow.
Now, this ride is more of a kiddie ride, but honestly, it doesn't matter what age you are, how big you are. Anytime you hop on this ride, it's always a blast. You get Mater singing in the background. It's just an all-around good time. I'm not a fan of spinning rides, but this ride always puts a smile on my face and gives me that Disney feeling, if you understand what I'm saying.
Wow, that was shocking. All right, now go ahead and say your 4th. Before he says his 4th choice, we don't know each other's lists, so it's all a surprise to both of us.
This one might come as a shock, but the number 4 ride on my list is actually Soaring. I know this is a cult favorite, and this is one of the ones that everybody always queues for. It gets a Magic Genie, all that stuff, but honestly, it's fun for what it is. I wish they would do a version where you get to hover over all of the Disney parks around the world. That would bump it up on my list. It's a good ride, not a fantastic ride. It only gets to number 4 on my list.
All right, and surprisingly, guys, number 4 on my list is also Soarin'. Like he said, I love Soarin'. I love the way it feels, but if you don't get right in the middle and you're on the left or the right, the way that the screen looks, it just looks distorted, and it looks like, you know, it curves a little bit, and then if you don't get in the very top, you see all the feet dangling.
Yeah.
So that's why I put it at number 4. I love the ride, but just there are so many things that go into it. If you don't get the perfect spot, it's not a perfect ride. And I did like that idea. If they added every Disney park, I think that'd be cool. If you got to visit all of them, that'd be really cool. Or if they just updated it in some way, I think it'd probably go a little higher on the list. And the 3rd ride on my list is going to be Guardians Mission Breakout. I know he's going to be upset. I know a lot of you guys are going to be upset, but just for me, I don't know. I'm not a fan of drop rides. I love the ride, trust me. I love it, but I get scared every single time I'm going on it. Ask him. I never want to go on it, but I do. I love it. I love it. I think the drops are perfect. I think the storyline's perfect. I love the characters, Rocket and all them. It's just a perfect ride overall, but just for me, because I'm not a fan of drops, that's why it's number 3 on my list.
Okay, I think that's a little low. Not to spoil my list, but number 3 on my list is actually going to be another controversial take, and is Radiator Springs Racers. So this ride has the longest wait time. Every time you look at the wait times on the Disneyland app, but it is definitely worth the wait if you've ever been on it. It's a fun time. It's a great way for the family to get that little jolt of adrenaline. You get to race, and I believe it's randomized. I don't think it's predetermined. It's random on who wins, but it's not the most thrill-filled ride of the park, which is what I like about the Disney California Adventure rides. It's a fantastic ride, but it only gets to number 3 on my list.
All right, guys, now we're headed into the top 2. Go ahead and say yours.
All right, the 2nd ride on my list is the Incredicoaster. Fantastic ride. Definitely way better if you ride in the back of the coaster as opposed to the front. You get that pull down on the drops, especially that big one after the Num Num Cookie part of the ride. Fantastic ride. If you want that little bit of thrill in your Disney day, this is the ride you want to go to. It's never that long of a wait, probably 30 minutes at the most. Definitely one of the top rides in all of the Disneyland Resort, but number 2 on my list.
Okay, guys, and shockingly, number 2 on my list is also the Incredicoaster. I love this ride so much. The takeoff 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is probably my favorite part. And like he said, we love going in the back. The back, it just feels like you're going way faster, especially on the loop. I don't know about him, but I was recording it this weekend with my camera, and I had it like this. And on the loop, my camera literally flipped backward because of the G-forces, I believe.
Yeah.
It's just insane. And we also did the front. I made a TikTok because I wanted to compare which one was better, the front or the back. And while you're here, let us know in the comments down below. Do you think the front or do you think the back is better on Incredicoaster?
Definitely the back.
Because we think the back. That's my 2nd favorite ride at DCA. It's perfect. I love it, but it's only 2nd. And now we're going to go ahead and say our honorable mentions.
The first of my 2 honorable mentions is Goofy Sky School. It's a fun ride. The only problem with it is it's super short, and those turns at the top are super rough, but it's still a blast. That one little drop section makes that whole ride for me. I don't want to wait in that long of a line for that kind of ride, so we usually get the lightning lane, and it's usually pretty quick. And the 2nd honorable mention on my list was actually on his list as his number 5. It is Monsters, Inc. Like he said, it's full of nostalgia. If you love the Monsters, Inc. movies, you'll love this ride. It takes you through like a abridged version of the movie. It's such a fun time. You get to see all the little puns, the monster puns, especially in the queue. I love it. It's a great way to get some AC, spend time with the family. Definitely one of the top 7 rides at DCA.
And here are my honorable mentions. My first one is Goofy Sky School. Like he said, I love the ride, but just waiting in that super long line for what, 30 seconds or so, it's just not worth it in my opinion. And we also get Lightning Lane, and you still wait a while because that ride's pretty popular. Most of the ride, you're just going boom, boom, you know, you're getting thrown around.
Yeah.
Just my favorite part, like he said, is that little drop. I do like Goofy Sky School, but it just didn't make my top 5. And my second honorable mention is The Little Mermaid. That is one of my favorite ones. Like he said with Monsters Inc., that's how I feel with Little Mermaid. I feel like I'm inside the movie every time I go on there. And when it's so hot in California, I just go inside this ride, I relax, I get to sing the songs, you know, in my head and everything. I love this ride a lot, but unfortunately it didn't make my list. And now we're getting into our favorite ride at Disney's California Adventure. He's gonna go first.
Okay, so for my top ride at Disney's California Adventure, if you've been paying attention to my list, should be no surprise, it is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. It is by far the best ride in all of the Disneyland Resort. If you want thrill, you're gonna get thrill. If you want fun story, you're gonna get fun story. If you love music, you're gonna get music. I've heard this as a hot take, but I prefer this way over the Tower of Terror 10 times over. It's a lot more thrill, a lot more fun, and it's fun to just jam out to some classic music while you're screaming your head off. We're gonna get shot up and down an elevator like 20 floors in 5 seconds. It's crazy. I love it. 10 out of 10. Favorite ride in all of Disneyland Resort.
Yeah, and there's a fun thing that you want to try if you have a group of friends like we did this weekend. There was, I think, 7 of us riding the ride, and I came up with the challenge of try not to make a face. I lost, I think, within the first seconds, because if you've ridden this ride, you know the beginning is probably, at least in my opinion, the scariest part of the ride. You start at the bottom, and all of a sudden, boom, you're all the way at the top. So I lost within like a matter of seconds.
Crazy.
I don't know who else lost because I recorded on my 360 camera, but it was too dark. But yeah, that ride is great. If you haven't ridden that, definitely ride it. And also, in my opinion, just to add on to his, go during Halloween, because you know Monsters After Dark is, I would think they multiply it by like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's super insane. So if you haven't done that, definitely check that out. That one's super cool. And for my favorite ride at Disney California Adventure is Radiator Springs Racers. If you guys know me, I'm a huge Cars fan. It's probably my favorite Pixar movie ever. Lightning McQueen and Tow Mater are my favorite characters in the whole Pixar universe. So this ride hits home for me. I just love it so much. It makes me feel like a kid, and it makes me feel like I'm inside the movie. And the race at the end, even though it's not as thrilling as all these other rides, to me it's perfect. It's a perfect amount of thrill. You know, you go fast, but you don't go too fast. I think it's enjoyable for the whole family. So that's why Radiator Springs Racers is my favorite ride at DCA. Now we're gonna head to the flop section. So that's the one ride that we think that we just did not like at all. Like, we do not care for it. Every time we go to Disneyland, we just probably won't go on it. And I'm gonna go ahead and go first because I was really disappointed. I was super excited for Avengers Campus to come out, and when they announced Web Slingers, I was so excited. And the first time I rode it, I was just, you know, it's another Midway Mania, just Spider-Man themed in my opinion. You're just going like this. It has no story to it. I mean, the story is kind of cool, but just the ride itself, in my opinion, is pretty boring. I would just rather go on Midway Mania where it's actually, you know, different themed or whatever, not just randomly going like this, getting prizes, getting spiders and stuff. We both have ridden the Spider-Man ride in Orlando, and that ride is 10 times better.
Oh, Universal, right? Yeah, for sure.
So I think if they would have done a Transformer style ride, you know, where you're just kind of going through the movie or whatever, I think that would have been cooler. But yep, that's my flop. Let me know if you agree with me or not in the comments down below.
Yeah, my flop is probably another controversial take. It's the Silly Symphony Swings. I hate rides that spin. I hate rides that go in circles, and that's what that ride is. It's one of those carnival rides where the goal of it is to get you as dizzy as possible. The swings are a classic ride. I just don't care for them. I don't like getting dizzy. And honestly, it's kind of one of those rides that I have went on one time in my whole life. That was good enough for me. And every time we're at DCA, I skip it. If my family wants to go on it, they get to go on it. I just sit, eat a pretzel, eat a churro while they're on it, and enjoy the views of the Pixar Pier. So what do you guys think of our list? Whose list do you think is better? Let us know your list in the comment section down below. I'm Gigi.
And I'm Brandon M's Adventures. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for other videos because the next video we're going to make is going to be our top 5 Disneyland rides. That one's going to be a lot harder because there are so many different rides. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.